A question I get a lot from founders raising their first round is, should I raise from angels or VC funds? And it's a great question. Many factors come into play, and your company, your cap table, it depends on each case, but happy to share a bit of a framework on how to think about it. So one key thing to take into account is size of the round. If you're raising 5 million, it's going to be very difficult to do it just with angels, because even a large angel check is 100K. How many do you need to get to 5 million? So the smaller the round, the more likely that having just angels is an option. The second one is from a round strategy perspective, what type of risks does the business have at this point? And let me explain. If there is a question on size of the upside, on how big does this company get, it's going to be very difficult to get venture money at that very early stage, because VCs cannot assume risk on size of the upside because of how their returns work, and because they need to invest in potential fund returners, they can't take that risk. Whereas angels, because they generally look at the returns in terms of a multiple of the money they invest, they're much more flexible there. So if you keep getting kind of pushback on how big can your business ultimately become, raising money from angels tends to be a good hack that gives you firepower, buys you time to prove that big potential out. So that's one. The other thing to consider, also because of how different investors look at returns, is terms. So generally with business angels, you can get around with lower dilution. This is because business angels are not so focused on the percentage that they own in a company, and so you can see lower dilution rounds versus rounds led by an institutional fund that will be very focused on having a minimum ownership stake. Now, on the other hand, and ultimately, make sure to run all the options through the round equation, because what you get, money plus value add, needs to exceed dilution plus economic and political rights plus complexity, i.e. what you pay, and that depends on a case-by-case basis.